The rules are to be kind, to have fun. We welcome all Jeep brand vehicles and just to get out and try not to get caught. And if you do, hopefully the other person laughs. I think we're sitting at 83 countries right now that we have ducks that are popping up in. And we've tracked it enough that we can say there's over 500,000 people playing around the world right now. Greece was a surprise for us. So was Egypt. Egypt was a really interesting one for us. The Middle East has been interesting because we didn't think we'd see anything pop up there. And Jeep actually pointed out that we had some duckers there, which was kind of a neat thing. I was not expecting to see them pop up in Switzerland and Ireland and Scotland either. And we've seen them come from there.
Warning. The 4x4 Canada podcast contains discussion about exploring mountains, camping beside lakes, and enjoying the outdoors. Guests also talk about jumping race trucks side by side, racing 1,000 horsepower rigs across mud pits, and jumping monster trucks over stacks of buses. None of this is for the faint of heart. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for bringing out your inner adrenaline junkie or making you want to get out there and explore the back roads from coast to coast. The 4x4 Canada podcast is not responsible for broken parts due to jumping your vehicle, hitting mud poles too hard, crossing deep streams, and doing other dumb shit. However, we will take credit for inspiring you to explore mountaintops, spend quality time outdoors with your friends, or meeting new like-minded people, and most importantly of all, following your dreams. Welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast. I'm your host, Wes.
Hi, and I'm your host, Trisha.
And I'm Allison.
Well, welcome today. Thank you for joining us, Allison and Wes. Here today, we're talking to Allison. So Allison is, if everyone knows, in the Jeep world and off-roading world, as official Duck Jeep girl who started and basically invented ducking. So let's start from the beginning. So Allison, let's first talk about you and why are you so famous in the Jeep world? And when you hear Allison Parliament, everyone knows, okay, that's the Duck Jeep girl. So how did it start? How did it begin? And what inspired you to begin?
So in 2020, I bought a 2018 JKU Sahara, and I was down in Alabama to pick it up because that's where I was living at the time. And all my family's here in Canada. And I was hanging out with all my family out here during COVID to be able to see them. But I had run home, picked up the Jeep, and came back. After I crossed into the country, I stopped for gas, and somebody decided not to be so kind. They put their hands on me and told me to go back to my own country and spread COVID there. It scared me significantly. I was bruised and pretty torn up about it for a while and didn't feel comfortable leaving the house. So my best friend decided she convinced me to go further north to where my dad's family is in Bancroft, Ontario. And a lot of people knew us up there, so it would be a little safer for me to be out and about with the Jeep. So we went up, and while we were up, the store started opening again, and we ended up going into one of the shops. And I had an idea when I saw a bunch of ducks on the shelves in the store to buy them to hide around the house to torture him. Well, from there, I walked out of the store, and there was a built Jeep. It was pretty. Like, it had everything I wanted as a stock Jeep on my Jeep. I didn't have any paper, but I had a Sharpie and a duck. So I wrote, "Nice Jeep. I hope this makes you smile," and left it on the Jeep. I got caught doing it by the gentleman that owned the Jeep. And he was a big, burly, like 6'5" guy. And like, I'm 6 feet tall. So, not that much taller, but enough that it made me go, oh, okay. And thank God he was laughing. Like, I was a little scared there for a few. And he thought it was the greatest thing in the entire world. So he convinced me to put it on Instagram, and we hashtagged it Duck Duck Jeep.
Oh my God.
And within a few hours, we saw other people putting the same thing up. So we created a Facebook group and a Facebook page. We have discontinued the page just because it was a little harder to manage than the group. But the group is still going. We've had offshoots in Canada, all over the world. We have people and other duckers, with other groups. And I've got to work alongside Jeep and BF Goodrich for this. It's been absolutely crazy in so many ways. Jeep actually loaned me one of their 4xe Wranglers last season, which was an amazing opportunity. And we've had so much fun with this. We do 60 to 90 events a season, and it's just continually picking up with more and more good.
Wow. 60 to 90 events per season.
Yep.
How to find the time to do that.
I don't get to do anything else. Like, it's a labor of love, don't get me wrong, but all my family's in the States. So we hope for Jeep events that are close by my mom and dad and my brothers and other family down there, because otherwise I don't get to see them. I have a 4-year-old niece that has her own little Jeep now, and we're going to have her out at Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Tennessee with us in August. We're really excited about that. And
so this has really opened up a whole new world for you. I mean, just a simple thing, a gesture of kindness to bring a smile to somebody's face. And it does. I mean, it's everybody, anytime they get a duck on their Jeep, they get, they're showing pictures of it. They post on Instagram or Facebook, and everybody's excited about it, and everybody gets a smile and a laugh about it, especially all the different ones. I mean, you're not talking just yellow ducks. We're talking all kinds of different ducks, right? And it blows my mind that it's just something started that has become, like, say, just a little gesture has exploded around the world.
Yeah.
Really, right? Did you expect it to come like this?
No, that was the overwhelming part for us. Like, we went from just an itty bitty mining town in Bancroft, Ontario to, I think we're sitting at 83 countries right now that we have ducks that are popping up in. And we've cracked it enough that we can say there's over 500,000 people playing around the world right now. And that's a really cool thing. And like, the head of Jeep over the week of the Easter Jeep Safari at the New York Auto Show actually talked about our grassroots movement and how I started it, and how he even enjoys getting the ducks on his Jeep, which was kind of a cool thing. Right? It's a humbling moment when they say your name and part of the Jeep community in such a big way.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I can't believe it's like that much worldwide too. Like,
it's crazy. Like, we have military members in Kosovo ducking right now. That was a really cool thing. The lady that's actually over there ducking was the first one to duck me in Alabama. And that was kind of a neat thing. And we've maintained a friendship too, because it took 6 months after we started this for my Jeep to get ducked the first time.
really?
Yeah, people never duck.
Did she know that it was your Jeep?
She didn't when she pulled up next to me. She got out. She was just excited to duck me. And then she looked at me and she goes, wait a second. She got so excited. And I'm just like, I had like the worst day ever. So my eyes were like huge and puffy too. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, hi, how are you? And then she was like, why are you in my town? Which was hysterical. I was actually coming back from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where my brother had been living with his wife. And so, it was just one of those road stops. So it was just really entertaining. And she's such a sweetheart. I actually have a decal she gave me that's a Black Hawk helicopter decal. That's on my Jeep. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So if everyone listening, you can also check out on our YouTube channel. We'll post the video, but we'll show these videos and pictures of what this ducking looks like. And Allison, let's talk about your Jeep has so many ducks.
Yeah, usually. We have ducks on the fender flares. We have ducks in the door handles. We have ducks on the back tire. I'm trying to think. I have 300 decals that are ducks on the Jeep right now.
Yeah.
Her name is Quack Attack. The group named her. And I know on board for Showcase, we've got about 482 ducks right now that people have sent or given us. And then I carry 1,000 to 4,000, depending on the event we're going to duck with at the event.
So we were speaking a little bit off air. Right now, what are you driving? Like, what's your Jeep that you're driving right now? Or you're getting a new Jeep, or did you get your new Jeep?
I haven't got it yet. I'm still driving my 2018 right this second, but I have a 2024 Jeep Rubicon Extreme Recon package coming from a dealer in Bartow, Florida that's sponsoring us. The dealer stepped up in a big way after inviting us to go to Daytona and covering a lot of stuff for us there, and said to me, hey, what do you think if we gave you a Jeep? They wanted to help in a significant way because my Jeep is a 2018. She's got 150,000 miles on her now from all the events that we do. She started with 23,000 on her when I bought her in 2020. And she's falling apart. We need to do some work to her. So we're going to pull her off the road when the 2024 comes in and give her a break from off-roading and from all the fun stuff that we do and go beat on the yellow one for a while. And I should mention it's going to be the high velocity yellow. We are naming her All Ducked Up. So
All Ducked Up. She already has a name. I love it. Okay, so some people ask, and I know that for myself, just driving around the city and people who are non-Jeepers, I was asked, what's this ducking about? Like, is there rules to ducking? Is there, what's, how does it really, how do people do it? So kind of like break it down. Is there rules of ducking?
The rules are to be kind, to have fun. We welcome all Jeep brand vehicles and just to get out and try not to get caught. And if you do, hopefully the other person laughs. Really, we welcome anybody that wants to play. We have some non-Jeepers that duck Jeeps because they think it's hysterical and they have fun with their kids doing it. And we even have families of Jeepers, like my family. My mom and my brother both have Rubicons as well, and they duck. They'll go out as a big group and start ducking in parking lots. So it's kind of one of those things. It's however you want to play.
So you don't have to be a Jeeper.
Nope, you don't. We welcome anybody that wants to have fun and be a little crazy too.
That's great. That's good to know because a lot of people think it's just a Jeep thing. It's just a Jeep person thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great to know that you can do whatever you can to throw a duck onto a Jeep and give somebody a little smile. You don't have to be a Jeeper yourself. So that's really good news to know.
I've even been known to duck a Bronco or two, as bad as that sounds for somebody that looks like they're having a bad day. I've left a duck just to make them smile. Some people don't realize everybody has a bad day or something going on. So a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So we try not to discriminate too much. Like, I wouldn't be caught dead driving a Bronco, but that being said, I can still be kind.
We're all humans, right? So
Yeah.
you mentioned where the duck thing came from in regards to seeing on the shelf in the store, but what is it about the duck that made you smile, made you think to put it onto that person's vehicle? Was it just an opportune time that you just happened to see something and it clicked, or?
For me, the ducks were kind of silly, and I figured it was something random enough that it would make Peter laugh when we did it originally. And little did I know that it would do what it did, make a whole ton of people laugh. But it's been pretty amazing.
Next question that I have is, if ducks didn't exist, would there be something else that you would choose? Would it be like another animal, or do you think that there'd be something else?
If ducks didn't exist, it probably would have been some kind of turtle because I have a small obsession with turtles. Started when I was little, but I have a whole ton of cute little collectible turtles floating around from all over the place. My dad traveled a lot, so he'd bring home things from his travels for us, and usually I'd ask for a turtle, which is a dork. but
Ducks work good though, and it's different saying turtle, Jeep,
yeah,
goes right.
and that
it just doesn't flow quite as nice.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Duck Jeep just worked so well, so I was like, okay, that because that just popped to mind when we did it.
Yeah.
And like, I've been in a Jeep my whole life, so this Jeep was my dream Jeep. So it's been an interesting ride in a lot of ways.
Well, you've got a new dream Jeep coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. They built it with all the specs that I got to pick and everything that I could possibly want. So it was a really cool moment when they said, hey, we want to do this.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Anything that we need, the dealer stepped in and offered help. So we've been very fortunate, even with the injuries I sustained at Bantam, they were the first to call and say, hey, what can we do? So we've been very, very fortunate to have them as a sponsor.
So I know you talked a little bit about this one lady that you did meet in this, and that kind of left the impression on you. But is there someone that either you caught ducking you, or if that you ducked someone and has left a special place in your heart that you never forget?
That would be one of our duckers out in Michigan. She's been with us since the very beginning, fighting a terminal illness. And she checks in all the time and just says, hey, I'm still here and it's all your fault. She tells me all the time that the ducks gave her purpose again. So she's continued to fight and, try to be as healthy as she can with what she's fighting. And she's absolutely amazing. She gives back in every way she can. But the ducks bring her such joy that it's a pretty amazing thing. Like, we've had families reach out telling us stories about how the ducks have made things better for them or helped them get through the loss of a loved one or just given them more time with a loved one that's ill that is going to ultimately pass. I've stayed up with Jeepers that are not having a great time and things are not great. I've, been out and supported some of them that are having great things going on in their world. We get a lot of interesting invitations, wedding invitations, things like that, which is crazy. and I get asked to sign ducks consistently, which I still feel awkward about at times.
Yeah.
I am a very, very shy, humble person generally, and like some of it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I feel very fortunate that we have built the community that we have. Each person is unique as their Jeep, and it's amazing to see just how cool the whole group can be.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing how it has come from, like I say, it still blows my mind. And myself not being a Jeep owner, what the duck is this duck thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's, some of us Toyota owners might make fun of it or something like that, but it's all in good fun making fun of it because it does bring joy, and that's what it is.
Well,
we
and
need
that's
more of that.
at the beginning when we started Duck Duck Jeep, some of the Toyota owners were a little jealous and started Yoda Toyota as an echo of Duck Duck Jeep. And the Broncos have Buck Buck Bronco that they've stolen from us.
Okay, Toyotas have what again?
Yoda Toyota, and they had little plastic Yodas they were leaving on vehicles. We even have Yoda ducks that have popped up. Like I've heard one somewhere.
Toyota.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I couldn't stop laughing when we found that, and like it was going around, but they made Yoda ducks. So people have been passing those out too.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And Broncos have
the Buck Buck Bronco, and there's horse ducks. So you can actually do that too if you want.
Wow. Okay.
It's interesting to see how people have made it their own.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
I'm going to have to bring up more Yoda stuff then. I think that's a great idea. And that's what it's all about, right? Everybody just wants to have fun, just bring a smile to everybody's face and that. Sure. So it still blows me away how viral it has gone, right? So
it's crazy. Like at Moab, we weren't expecting people because it's more of an off-roading thing than it is the stuff that we generally do. We had people chasing my Jeep down asking for ducks, and like on one of the trails, I can't remember which one we were on, somebody recognized me and sent their kid over to duck us. So on the trail, we're throwing ducks back and forth. And I have a duck launcher now so we can shoot ducks out of the Jeep to get them further. Because I have crap aim. So I was like, okay, it's a Nerf tennis ball launcher that we dressed up as a duck launcher. And I can get them like 75 feet, which is great. Yeah. We went through 1,000 ducks at Bantam, just shooting them at people as they walk by to get people to come say hi.
Wow.
So we may have too much fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
So actually a little bit off topic. You've mentioned you've gone to, Bantam, which is a huge Jeep festival. That was the birthplace of the Jeep. And I've been there once in the early years to the festival, and it's actually mind-blowing. It's absolutely awesome.
Yep.
But, you've gone to Moab, you've gone to Daytona, different things. What are some of your favorite events that you've been to?
Oh, that's hard. Smoky Mountain is probably going to be one of my favorite. Like, I hate to be that person, but Smoky Mountain, there's so much to do, and it's more family-oriented. So everybody can be included. Moab's really great if you like to off-road. I know that we quite enjoyed that part of it. Daytona was amazing, just being out on the beach and doing everything that we got to do there. Like, everything is amazing in different ways. I even hosted a Jeep Invasion down in Alabama in October every year. So that's all about off-roading. We have a lot of fun. We partnered with one of the Badge of Honor trails. And so everybody that goes out can get their badges while they're down there. So it's very unique for each event that we attend. They all have their great things. I will say the Wabash Jeepers put on a topless day event every year for breast cancer. That is near and dear to my heart because my mom and my aunt both fought breast cancer. My mom is a 26-year survivor and actually won their Survivor Jeep Award this year. And my aunt lost her battle at 32 to the disease. So for us, anything to do with breast cancer, we generally go to and support. But I will say every event is amazing in their own way. So it's hard just to pick one.
It is. And there are different sized events. There's different terrain. There's different mentalities behind the events and stuff like that. And I realize that was a hard question to answer, if not an impossible question, right? But
at times.
So following your page on your socials, we have a contest. It's called Duck Duck Jeep.
Yeah.
What's that about?
We issued the Duck Wars after seeing the Chicken Wars. One of our Jeepers in Texas started this as an offshoot of Duck Duck Jeep, and we went with it because he challenged us and he challenged one of my ambassadors. It's just taking all the ducks that you have in your Jeep that you've either been ducked with or just ducks that you have and displaying them and showing off the duck army. as something to make people smile. It's more of a challenge than it is a contest, but it's been a lot of fun because you get to see the unique ducks, there we go, from different places. Like I have ducks from Holland, I have ducks from Mexico, Australia, China, Russia, and a few other countries that have been mailed to us. And I even have a duck from Hawaii, which is kind of neat. So it's crazy to see what comes from where. And I crocheted that was about.
Does the Hawaii one have the little hula grass skirt thing and stuff like that? Awesome. Awesome.
And
So-
like,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the duck from Holland is actually from the Delft China company. So it's got the blue and white pattern all over it too.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's really cool.
So there's obviously so many, I've seen pictures of so many different kinds of ducks, and there's, I mean, you ladies are Jeep ladies and you probably see a lot more of them, but there's so many different kinds. What are some of the ones that sort of stick out in your mind that you've seen? And then same with you, Trish, if you can answer that after.
The inflatable ducks that go on the roofs are always fun because you never know who's going to have what. I have one with an eye patch and a green mohawk that lives on my Jeep when we stop. I love him. We have named him Rex just because, like, we put him up so often. We figured we might as well give him a name. But it's always entertaining to see what people come up with, too, because there are LED ducks. There are cool ducks that float that have little switches in them. So they float in the water. It's crazy, but it's fun.
Fun. Yeah, my ducks, it's funny because the ducks that I have a lot. I don't know how many, maybe at least 20 on my dash. And I remember each one before I got them, which is pretty cool. And I think the most memorable I have, my favorite, he's a little to like match my Jeep. So it's like, he's pretty cute. He's my favorite. He sits right in front of me, right above the wheel.
We got a really cool one the other day. Jason, could you bring the Tyrannosaurus Rex duck over here?
No way.
Oh, yeah. My mom found an experience. And Jason has a 2000 TJ. And so she sent him this guy, actually.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Oh, like, it's hysterical.
That is so cool. So Duck Duck Jeep is the hashtag, correct?
Yes, it is. It is hashtag
Duck Jeep.
Jeep.
Okay. And then where can people follow, or where can people see more about you and the whole Duck Duck world online?
So we have duckduckoffroad.com. And you can also find us on our socials at official ducking Jeep EST 2020. That'll take you to our Instagram and our Facebook. It is the same. Oh, and our TikTok. So we've got all three. And then I know that I have my personal page too that people follow, which is just my name, Allison Parliament. So we kind of end up with a lot of people over there too.
Yep. So the TikTok, are you guys doing dancing with the Jeeps and the ducks?
That's more of the off-road stuff and just the adventures we have to and from events. My English master will stick his head into that periodically. And he's massive, so people are very interested to talk to him. We've actually taught him to duck people.
No.
He'll go to his bucket and he'll pick up a duck and he'll take it to somebody if we say Ollie duck, and he'll drop it in their hands.
Nice. That is great.
It was scary to a little kid because he's 280 pounds, so I figured why not make him less scary? So he has a ducky bandana and a ducky harness to go with it.
That is awesome. So do you actually have a duck, or do you live in the city where you can't have ducks?
I don't have a duck. We do feed some of the ducks in our backyard. I live on the Black River near Washego, Ontario. And so we have tons of ducks in our backyard. But with having a mastiff, we were afraid he'd think it was a bath toy and hurt it. So we decided not to get a duck.
Yeah, especially if he's picking up ducks out of his bin and giving them to people. Yeah, that could be.
Like, my cats on him, don't get me wrong. Like, they beat the crap out of that poor dog and he takes it. But there's always that chance he could do some harm. So we're just like,
Yeah, it's that you go to throughout the year. And you do off-road.
Yep.
What kind of places do you off-road at all your events? Or do you take time just to off-road, or you just go to events?
But we take time to off-road. I actually took most of July off before I was injured to off-road. We're trying to figure out what that's going to look like this season. But we do Badge of Honor trails down in the States. We've done Moab. We do some of the trails around Ontario. We are hopefully, if I can get cleared medically, doing a cross Canada run. So we're going to do trails across Canada this fall. And yeah, I've been off-roading since I could sit up, so it's not a new thing for me. My great uncle restored the antique military Jeeps. We had an M8 and a Korean War Jeep. I'm trying to think what the number was on that one. I can't remember it right now. But he had us in those from when we could sit up, basically until he passed away. So Jeep has been a big part of my life my whole life.
So you've been around Jeeping, for years and you're hitting all these different events. What kind of wheeling are you personally into, Allison? Are you you like the rocks? You like are you like a mud girl like Trisha? What gets you going?
I'm really unique in the sense that I'm very happy down in the red dirt in Alabama playing in the mud, but I love going up here and being out on the rock where you get, the beautiful views. For me, as long as it's a trail and we're going out, I'm usually a happy camper.
Yeah.
And we got some amazing photos of endangered turtles this season already that we actually were able to help a wildlife protection group find the eggs and get them safe so they didn't get destroyed. And we've seen barred owls just waking up that we've woken up on a trail up near Bracebridge, and getting photos from that was absolutely amazing. So for me, it's just being out and enjoying the trails. We usually take a decent group with us and we love having fun with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Got to get the therapy in between all your events and everything. Unwind and get in wheel.
So you mentioned traveling and you're thinking about working towards a cross Canada thing, depending on your injury and that. Have you wheeled much in other provinces other than, say, Ontario and probably Quebec, because you're fairly close to that as well, I assume? Yeah. Have you wheeled in other areas across Canada?
We have not, unfortunately, had the time with all of our event schedule the way it is. Ontario, Quebec are kind of easy because Quebec's 5 hours from us.
Yeah.
And most of the trails are, 2, maybe 3, because where I am in Wishigo, Minden's really, really close. So we go out there quite a bit. And we also have some family-owned property that we play on up in Bancroft. But it's one of those things right now where we're in such high demand. We're booked a year in advance for most events. So breathing is scheduled at this point. It's crazy, but we make people happy, so it's worth it.
Yep. Yeah. So sticking with the Canada theme, if you had the opportunity to go wheeling anywhere in Canada, where would you go?
I want to get out to Jasper and out that way, and just the views are amazing from the photos I've seen. So I'm dying to get out there and see it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The West Coast is sorry, Ontario, but West Coast is where it's at.
Keep hearing that.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. You got the Rockies, you got the ocean, etc. But, anytime you come out west just let us know when you're coming out, and there's so many people. I'm sure you've gotten offers from everybody in every province, obviously. Yeah. But, anytime you come out, let us know, because there's lots of great trails out here and just the views and that as well too, right? So are you, based with your time, you're driving down to these events, has Red Bull talked to you about sponsorship or Monster Energy?
No, we haven't had that. We've been very fortunate to have sponsorship from BF Goodrich on trail. I don't know if you guys have seen that roll out in the States, but On Trail is an amazing off-roading app that is a free trail tracking and mapping app that you guys can use. They're going to be rolling out more here in Canada in the next few months. But
that was my next question, was when's it coming to Canada?
If you guys create your account now at ontrail.com, it'll have you log in, set it all up, and then as soon as it comes in, you'll be able to use it more accurately. But you can create your account early, and it is got a free version, which is just as nice as the paid version as far as I'm concerned. It gives you your elevation, so you can take pictures on the trail to show somebody what is on the trail, if there's any obstacles or, damage on the trail that could potentially do harm. And you can give it a rating, whether it's easy, medium, or hard. So it kind of gives new people that are coming out and seasoned people an idea of the conditions of the trails when you're out there. So it's a really cool app in a lot of ways.
That's great.
Okay, I'll look up for that. Download.
If you're out of signal, it'll still let you download the maps before you go out, and it'll keep tracking you even if you lose signal.
That's a good highlight, because even just outside the city, sometimes you don't get that. You're mapping and you're like, that's awesome. But I'm definitely gonna look into that.
I was gonna say, we are sponsored by a Canadian wheel company, to RTX Wheels.
RTX wheels. Okay.
So I have currently the bronze and black Zions on the 2018, and we've got the solid black Goliath going on my new Jeep.
Nice.
But they have been a huge sponsor in a lot of ways. They provide ducts for us when we're running short, and they are all about Canadian Jeepers. We have a lot of fun with them. So
yeah, they're on my list to get onto the podcast as well too. So
I can help you with that. I'll get you the contact information for their sales director.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that for sure, because that's one of the things that we brought the podcast on board is to promote Canadian companies as well as Canadian YouTubers and other interesting people like yourself. So, however we can support the Canadian four-wheel drive industry, that's we got to stick together, definitely. So, are there any upcoming events or any upcoming events that you want to mention that more specifically in Canada, but obviously you're all over the place. So what do you got coming up?
We have our Canada Day event, which is the home of Duck Duck Jeep in Bancroft, Ontario. We are going to be set up at Millennium Park with the city and just talking about Duck Duck Jeep and ducking people as they go by, which is exciting and going to be a lot of fun. The rest of our season, unfortunately, this year is in the States. We had to cut a bunch of events just due to my hand, but we'll be at Toledo Jeep Fest, which we see a lot of Canadian Jeepers. So we kind of, try to all lump together for the parade and everything, which is a lot of fun. And then we're going to end our main season at Smoky Mountain this year.
Nice.
So we will have Duck Duck Jeep Invasion down in Alabama this year, but we are looking at actually moving that up to Bancroft. I'm currently plotting with the city some projects with that. So you guys may ultimately see us here in Canada every year.
That'd be good.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. We have such a big community here too. So that would go, and have that nation here.
It's just finding volunteers right now. It's the hard part. So we're working on that.
Got to put a call out. Yeah, just put a call out. I'm sure a lot of people will want to come out.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, just going back, something just popped in my head. You said you have an inflatable duck that you put on the top of your Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
Like how big we talking?
He is towable by a boat for 2 or 3 people to tube on. He is a giant duck. Like you can see him from significantly far away. So we usually have him up for parades or if we're parked for show and shines.
Not just going down to 401.
I don't think he'd survive very well. Like we actually went sledding with him last year. He's got some duct tape right now. We were being silly and filming, and I was like, we could blow him up and ride him down the hill like a sled, right? So for National Rubber Duck Day, we did that, not thinking about the fact that with how the weight was on him, he'd flip backwards. So I ended up going downhill backwards, which is hysterical. But we may get a little too much fun with them sometimes.
That's what it's all about, though, right? It's the fun. So is there a Duck Day?
That would be July 4th. It's the day we started Duck Duck Jeep. We're working on something for that for next year. This year has been a little crazy, so we had to cut back where we cut. But we're going to bring out some cool things for next year. We're going to have some special tags and some other things. We're actually working on our own brand of duck right now, too. Cool. We've partnered with a couple of different companies this year, and we've got some bigger things coming out next year that we're really excited about.
And people can follow along at Duck Duck Off-Road and official ducking Jeep.
EST 2020.
EST 2020. That is probably the best way to find out what's going on in the Duck Jeep world.
For sure.
I don't know why that's so hard for me to say.
It can be a mouthful. A lot of the time when we're just talking through the staff, it's DDJ, and it just keeps us out of trouble.
Yeah. It's easier than turtle Jeep.
Right? For sure.
Or Yoda Toyota. I like that. I'm still getting a kick out of that one.
I love Yoda Toyota.
I do too. I have some friends with Tacomas. We made sure they got Yodas.
That is awesome. So going back to your Jeep, what made you get a Jeep to begin with? You said that you grew up in Jeeping for many, many years. What is it about Jeeps that draws you to them?
For me, it was not only good memories, but it was also that sense of freedom of having the doors and the top off. My great uncle was very much girls should learn to do everything the guys do. So I got to learn how to change tires, learn how to drive standard, all the things. And when I hit university age, my dad was like, well, what do you want to drive? And I ended up with a hand-me-down pickup truck, which was great, but it wasn't a Jeep.
Yeah.
So I made it my goal as I proceeded through my career that when I hit that sweet spot at work, I was going to get a Jeep. And that opportunity presented itself in 2020. And I jumped in, bought it, and I have not regretted it at all. It is a very, very nice thing to be able to get out, take top off. And I have the latch to the JKU, so I don't have the big fancy stereo. I don't have a bunch of the stuff like my phone can't hook into it. So it's nice that work can't find me if I'm out on the trails.
You jumped in both feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, what I've noticed over the years, and the same thing as you, I grew up in the 4x4 world, and Jeep owners has always been this camaraderie, right? It's always been you got the Jeep Wave and different things like that, and people still will do the Jeep Wave to an XJ or something like that, right? Because a Jeep is a Jeep, other than a Patriot. But it's the Jeep community has always had a very strong, I don't know what to call it, subculture almost kind of idea, right? So I find it very interesting. I've had Jeeps over the years as well too, and it's something that you don't see as much with, say, the Toyota crowd. You see it a bit, but the Land Rover crowd, they're all kind of cliquey and stuff like that. But there's something about the Jeep community that it could be a lady driving her stock JKU, your kid's soccer practice, or it could be a 6'5" guy with a big Jeep on 38s or whatever, right? So and if they know the Jeep way, they all do it. And I think that the Duck Duck Jeep thing has just brought that community that much closer. And
for sure,
I've always found really interesting the Jeep life and the Jeep community, how they've always been together. So it's
been amazing. Like, I'm trying to think. Cool Duck Jeep, which is the group in Quebec, actually just sent me a big flag and some of their swag. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be running that, I think, on Canada Day from the back of my CD antenna. But it's amazing to see how it's brought so many people together. I mean, for example, at Bantam, I had a big group of Canadians come over, all excited because there aren't as many events up here for us.
Yep.
So they'd been trying to find an event close enough to home that they could come meet us, not realizing that I'm living up here full time now. So that was a fun conversation. If we're not on event season, I'm home. So it's nice to be back in Ontario full time.
That's good. And I think looking forward to having more events like this in Ontario would be great. And it'd be nice to have it here too.
For sure.
But it'll be fun to have it here, especially that started from here. I started and being Canadian, so it'd be really nice to see. Fun.
The going back to the whole Jeep community too. I mean, have you noticed? I was trying to think of how to word this. Have you noticed that it's brought a lot of people that are not the typical Jeep owners? Like you say, like to take the example of Trisha's group, the GTA Jeep girls, and there's girls that have lifted, Jeeps like Trisha does. And then there's ladies that have, stock Jeeps that just, hey, what's this Jeep thing going on kind of idea. And have you found that the Duck Duck Jeep movement has brought a lot of people into the Jeep world almost?
Yes. We hear all the time people say they have bought a Jeep because of the ducks, which is kind of fun. Or they'll ask questions about it and then they're like, oh my God, we got to get a Jeep. And a lot of them follow through on it. It's crazy. My mom actually ducked a lady because she was looking at buying a Jeep. And she goes, yeah, I'm going to buy a Jeep now. And walked inside the paperwork and walked out with a Jeep. I think Mom said it was like Monday or Tuesday when she got her oil changed.
Oh my God.
And I've met a lot of the GTA Jeep girls. I've been up to a couple, I guess down sometime north of you guys.
Yep.
To a couple of the events there, and everybody's absolutely phenomenal. And it doesn't matter if it's a stock Jeep or a big, outfitted Jeep. Everybody's absolutely supportive and kind, and that's a really great thing to see because you don't see that everywhere in the Jeep community. And it's nice to see that so many people are absolutely wonderful and welcoming, especially up here.
Yeah, and it's very open to everybody, right? Whether it be male, female, kids, it can be grandpas, grandmas, whatever, right? And that's just the cool thing about it, is that just encompasses everybody and every nationality. And so going back to, you've seen them around the world, what are some of the countries that we may not expect the Duck Jeep movement to be in?
Greece was the surprise for us. So was Egypt. Egypt was a really interesting one for us. The Middle East has been interesting because we didn't think we'd see anything pop up there. And Jeep actually pointed out that we had some duckers there, which was kind of a neat thing. I was not expecting to see them pop up in Switzerland and Ireland and Scotland either. And we've seen them come from there. There are duck shops popping up even in flea markets. It's crazy. Like, I know at Sevierville, Tennessee, we have a pair of ladies that own a duck shop there that's open for Smoky Mountain, where we've actually issued a challenge to our duckers to try to sell them out of ducks while we're there.
Awesome.
Because they've been such a big support for us. We don't have a lot of sponsors, but we have great sponsors.
Yep.
And those ladies have helped us pick up where we don't have when we need something for an event or need to get to an event and just may not have it in the budget. So we want to do what we can to support them.
Yep.
And that's what this community's been about, is, supporting everybody and doing what we can. And it's a cool way to give back when we can. We've done it to a few businesses where we've sold them out of inventory, which has been kind of fun.
That's awesome. That's great. And so Duck Jeep is the hashtag with your Instagram and all that. And I agree with you about seeing countries in other countries, whether it be Egypt or Iran or Iraq. And I know that we've actually got some listeners or some downloads from Iran and Iraq, Germany, and different countries that people have listened to the podcast. And it still blows me away that we're reaching that far. So for you to be seen, I mean, it must be kind of exciting to see this phenomenon go around the world. Like, it's just,
you should see the text messages between the staff when we get a new country, because I get excited. So everybody else is like, yeah, okay. I don't know how my staff tolerates me some days, because I get super hyper and excited about events and stuff. They're just like, okay, breathe, calm down. I'm like, no. So it's a lot of fun. And the guys that work with me are absolutely amazing. We've got a staff of 8 people currently, and we all do this on a volunteer basis. There's no profit in this for us at all. I actually signed a contract with Jeep that said we'd be no profit, nonprofit. Okay. So a lot of people think we make a lot of money doing this. I get to look at them and go, so yeah, I know. But we've been very fortunate with what we have got to see and do. The experience, I think, is worth just as much as anything else that we could make. So I love what we do.
That's just the icing on the cake right there. That's nice. The last question that we our guest is, what Canadian would you like to listen to on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
I'm going to go with Nikki Daniels. Nikki, the head of GTA Jeep Girls, I think would be a really fun one to have on. She's been a lot of fun to work with, and I think she would be a lot of fun to hear talking about the GTA Jeep Girls and everything you guys do.
Yeah, we actually have had her on. She came on with Trisha, and that's actually how I met Trisha, was through Nikki.
Okay.
And you're right, it was a wonderful podcast having both ladies on, and what the GTA Jeep Girls stands for, and bringing in the women all around the GTA, how they've expanded to all these other areas, and the inclusion that they have of everybody from 16-year-old young ladies to 80-year-old young ladies, of all different kinds of races and different things like that. And it's from everything that I've understood from talking to not only Nikki and Trisha, but other ladies involved in the groups, they just made them feel so welcome. And that's something that I absolutely love. It really brings, with the duck thing going hand in hand, of bringing these Jeep people together. And a lot of people maybe feel intimidated about going and to an event or going to a meetup or something like that, and then seeing how warm and welcoming these other Jeep ladies are is and then the duck thing just brings that to a whole nother level as well, right? So yeah, Nikki was a great guest, and Trisha was okay as well. So yeah, it was really good. So once again, we're talking to Allison from the Duck Jeep world, for lack of better terms. And she is a lady that came up with the idea of this ducking Jeep thing. And I gotta be careful how I say these things. I'm sure you've heard it all before.
The puns that we've come up with, I even have a t-shirt that says "Go duck yourself." So you're fine.
But yeah, I think, this whole movement is that you've brought on board. Like I can't say enough high regards about it, right? So, and I love that Yoda Toyota thing. So
Gotta get West Yoda, send it out to you.
Gotta get a Yoda for sure. So, but once again, Allison, I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us tonight. What you've done has been great. And people can reach you at the duckduckoffroad.com and the official Ducking Jeep EST 2020 on Instagram is probably the best bet, or the whole hashtag of Duck Jeep. And that, people check out that Duck Jeep, and there's all kinds of posts from all over the world, and it's pretty awesome, I have to admit.
Yes, thank you, Allison, and thank you for being to us and being on the show with us and talking to us and being as a Jeeper and just learning about ducking Jeeps. And I'm fairly new still in the Jeeping world, so to speak with you and just conversate is really cool. It's awesome. Well, thank you again. And I'm going to for sure make out to all the events that you're going to plan here in Ontario because I'm here. So I'll definitely come out, definitely support, and hopefully see you then too.
Thank you guys for having me tonight. It's been awesome. You guys are awesome. And I can't wait to see what else you guys have on. I'm catching up on your podcast right now, to be honest. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
So we'll be sharing it all over our Facebook group. We've got 75,000 people following us. So we'll hopefully see some more views for you guys too.
Yeah,
appreciate it. It's been an interesting journey. So, but yeah, I appreciate everything that you've done. And thank you for staying up late. I know it's late over there, ladies, and I appreciate that. And
no problem.
We'll talk soon.
Definitely. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.